Lord, I pray that this is that video that awakens and enlightens the individual that is ensnared in a narcissistic personality disorder, abusive relationship, much like it did me. I hope this is that video. In Jesus' name, amen. I really want you guys to understand, first and foremost, before I begin the video here, is this is not something that I believe any of us content creators wake up with a malicious intent or any type of ulterior motive, as many content creators may gravitate towards content for sensationalism, revenue, which altogether in and of itself is not a bad thing, because you need finances to live. But that is the last or next to the last thing that I believe any of us content creators here who are talking about this subject are here for. That's the last thing we're here for. That may be one of a few things. I guess what I'm getting at is this is not really a glamour session. This is not something that it takes a certain stamina, if you will. At least speaking for me, it takes a certain stamina, not only to bring videos here out to the masses, hoping that someone will get it, but it takes a stamina of sorts, spiritual stamina, for one, to come before people on a regular basis talking about something that would seemingly make us appear like we are better than. So we have to resist all of those voices in the background, in our head and in our mind, that are trying to convince us that we should ease up on the gas pedal. And so that's the stamina I'm talking about. It takes a very a conscious wherewithal to get here and give you guys this stuff that we are giving it to you from the bottom of our heart, from the the powers that be, God Almighty, the spiritual powers that are enlightening us to what we know and what we see and what we've learned by way of this spiritual demonic overthrow. So I wanted to make that clear, guys, and the reason why I wanted to emphasize that is, think about that when you listen to the next video, and hopefully that's this video. Don't go away from these videos thinking that I can get laxed. I can just this is not like a soap opera. This is not like a sitcom. This is not like a comedy. This is not like a show that you watch to entertain yourself or to get away and to get your mind off things. This is specifically to get your mind on things, the things of God, and the things that Satan is setting up against you in your progress, your journey, and ultimately God's will for your life. Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and he's using narcissists to accomplish that. Just wanted to get that out of the way. So when you listen to this video, let the video that you listen to next be the one that you make a committed effort to disengage, disappear from the narcissist's life forever. So I want to talk about two things that will ensure that you never return to the narcissist. First off, when you wake up, I believe you should spend time with God in prayer. The second thing is continually on a daily, as you do with prayer. Make this be the second thing. Connect with some information or resource regarding narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, all of these disordered traits, if you will. Read them, educate yourself about them in a practical way, and you measure that by spiritual principles in the book, the Bible. And you'll see the parallel here as to how God is talking and warning us, you, chosen ones, empath. Because if you've been awakened by this and you've been even enlightened by the fact that you know that there's something that's very wrong with the human being that you invested your life, your time, your monies, and even family, children, are disordered, and it's just not normal. It's just not something you can just like get past and look over. It is demonic, and it is a strong overthrow. And you realize that. Once you realize that, it is parallel to spiritual principles of the Bible. God is warning you, and the reason why he's warning you, because had he not warned you, there's nothing out here in the world, even literature, DSM 4 and 5, 6, whatever. I knew of no such book. And anyone who's in psychology majors and different things like that, they are probably as unaware as a baby just popping out the womb. Even though they're right in front in the driver's seat, the cockpit of what this disorder is, because it's in that DSM 4 and 5. But I doubt if anybody who's in psychology has ever given the attention needed to this. I mean, there are some, I'm sure, in the world that have gotten into psychology, but most of them, I want to believe, they don't have a clue. Because what happens is, in the human mind, when we get educations, academics, we pride ourselves in what we know. When we're giving a plaque from the higher ups and the deans and the administration, we go to graduation. This starts early. We're giving rewards. We're giving these tokens of appreciations. And so it even feels funny to an empath and a chosen one. If you look back at graduation, it was such a robotic endeavor. You wait your turn, you go up there, it's the same old slow bleed. But what you did was you went along to get along, because there was some kind of unity and camaraderie there. You had the butterfly feeling, you had this, you had that. So you went along to get along. And as you aged out, you continued to go along to get along, because now you've been conditioned to just aspire to do something in order to achieve a desired result. You go to work, you receive a paycheck. If you put in enough hours, you know you can expect a certain amount of money. If you work some overtime, you know that you can expect an extra amount of money. You can get bonuses if you come to work and you stay with the company a certain amount of time. This goes on and on and on. Tokens of appreciation. And again, on the backdrop of that is you're being breadcrumbed things that keep you coming back. Now you may say, in our economic system, what do? If you didn't do that, this world would not be able to function the way it is. Well, it may not be able to function the way it is, but one thing that's undeniable, it would very much function in a more real way if you and I had more of an insight and an overview of why we're doing what we're doing. We would go to work with a different appreciation. Now we're fast forwarding to awakened empaths that know why we doing these things in this matrix of a situation. So now we go to that same job with a different outlook, a different insight. And again, you see that I need to do this to bring about a desired result. But you also see the powers that be are weighing in against every attempt that you try to aspire to achieve and attain a certain goal. It seems like there's being, as soon as you get to the top of the hole, you're digging yourself out, you feel like somebody is stepping on your fingers. And you're not meeting your quota. It's just always things within companies and even in relationships. You think they have your heart's interest at hand, and you think you're simultaneously going at this thing called life the way the people around you are. But you're probably the most sincerest person in that room. And when you find out that you are and were the most sincerest person in that room, you have a decision to make now. You have to what we call GOSO, get out and stay out. That's an acronym, GOSO. Get out, stay out. It could mean leaving that job, giving them a 2 weeks notice or not. It will mean making sure you get your situation set up to where you can kind of make a transition before they make that transition for you abruptly. It means disengaging with those family members that you have grown up around, and you always knew in the back of your mind that there was something that it doesn't matter how much you tried to get along with that family member, something inside of them just would come out of the blue. You know what that something is now. They can't find their way out of a room with the lights on. That's not your fault. That's not your problem. So what keeps us going back sometimes, we know about cognitive dissonance or trauma bond. We know about that. But I'm going to break this down for you to understand. You're going back to someone who has groomed and trained you to believe that you need to do a certain amount of principles and things to bring about a desired result. Just like the job, just like growing up and going to church and being the choir boy. The Catholic Church are big on this. They start the kids very young, giving them these tokens of appreciation amongst fellow peers. And they'll be walking on cloud 9, but they're never reprimanded to a strong degree, to where they know that you're not entitled. And so this is a grooming process. So back to what I'm talking about as far as when you realize that you're that only sincere person that was invested in that situation, you get out of it, you have to disengage with that family member. And now, being that you understand, based on that information and just education and raising your vibration daily, it's not a question of how much longer will I accept this. It becomes no question. It becomes tomorrow or today or tonight or this morning or this evening is it. And it's not even, it could be premeditative because you have to plan things in life. So what I'm saying, for the most part, there is not a lot of in-depth planning goes into the decision making of I'm getting out of here and I'm not coming back. Although the residuals or the little intricate details of leaving, how you leave, what do you got to take, this, that, and other, those things have to be worked out. But the overall, I'm leaving, that's it. There's no discussion in my head or in their out of their mouth. We're not discussing. I'm not entertaining anything they have to say because you've been back and forth. So now you have a very concrete stance on this because of what? You have the information and the insight, and you've worked on you silently. Because now with the education and the insight, you're beginning to introspect and reflect on this madness that you have been in and involved in. And it goes beyond that present situation, be it a relationship, intimate relationship, for example. It causes you, many times like me, to go way back in my family dynamic, in my upbringing, how it parallels how I was very much in the same manner groomed in a way where I was given the impression that I had to do a certain thing to bring about a desired result. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't achieve the desired results, because it always was contingent on things outside of me, other people, like the paycheck, my boss. But now awaken, you know, you are the paycheck. Many times companies need you more than you need them. Many times your mother in that narcissistic, disordered family needs you more than you need her. Father, sister, brother, uncle, aunt, niece, nephew, even your own child. You realize they need you more than you need them. And this is what we lie to ourselves and believe. Oh, they need me financially. Oh, they need me. They're going through a hard time. All of those things are not, in fact, the reason they need you. They need you because of your energetic presence. Your light. They need you because of the light in you. They need your light. They don't care. Susan doesn't care anything about that tuition that you keep helping her with. She is recklessly squandering money simply to draw you back in. Because if it was just a matter of the finances, she'd say, cash out me, and wouldn't want nothing to do with you. And a lot of them will do that. They'll have it set up where the money, as long as the money coming in, they don't need to see you. You're just like a ladder. You're one of the rungs in the ladder. They call it a rung, I guess, the steps. You're one of the steps in that ladder. And it's sad because I see family members that have children that do this. And what we do is, on the side of, we love them, and that's our child. We don't want to see them suffer and then want. There was a girl I saw just here a couple of days, McKenzie Strila, essentially ran her car into a wall at 100 miles an hour, a Toyota Camry, with her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, and a friend, and killed them both. And she, I guess, died on the table or something. They brought her back, and she was out partying like a day or two after she got out of the hospital. So much like, I almost said Jodi Arias, I know a lot of these psychos. I followed these stories way before I even woke up to narcissistic personality disorder. It's just the way I'm wired. And I think that aided in me waking up in the way I did. Some of us are just sponges for all of this creepy crawly stuff. Not because we love it or enjoy it, but it's because we are thinkers. We are deep thinkers, empaths, chosen ones. But her name was Mackenzie Skrilla. And yeah, she was out partying, much like Casey Anthony. She's back on YouTube. You guys check that out. Casey Anthony got like a 3-minute rant, looking like Narcissist poster child. It's sad. She really, truly has not met the karma that she's yet to meet. They get rid of their children because their child is a nuisance. The mother, the grandmother held her accountable. But I think they in part groomed her to be what she is. The dad was a cop. The mom was a nurse. So making that good income, having these positions of authority and positions of helping and servitude, I think a lot of that goes to people's heads, and they just think their children are, they serve the community, but they don't serve in the home as they should. And their kids fall through the crack. So back to that Mackenzie Skrilla, they had this thing called phone calls from jail, where her and her mom are pretty much just chopping it up like two girlfriends at a tea party. Mom's telling her, shut it down, don't talk about anything regarding the case. This is after she's gotten, I think, 2 life sentences, actually 20, I think she got 25. She'll be eligible for parole. I think it was 25 to life, 20 to life, something like that, but she'll be eligible for parole. She was only 19 now when she went in, so she'll be in her early 30s, mid to late 30s. So I went there because just wanted you guys to check some of that stuff out if you get an opportunity. I'm always in tune with this type of stuff because it is just how I'm wired. It is how I'm hungry to understand that the society that we live in is not as pleasant as we would like it to be. Yeah, we living our life. We're living a wholesome life. We're living a wholesome, vibrant life, awakened. But it does not negate the fact that we must continue to water the garden in order for it to grow. Meaning us. We have to water our garden of knowledge, insight, in order to keep vibrating upward. There is no days off with this. And I want to leave you with this, guys. In the beginning, I said this must be the second thing in that order or any order. Wake up with some type of informative information about narcissistic personality disorder, or the narcissist behavior, if you will, and prayer. Spend time in tune and in communion with God, because you need that spiritual protection. You cannot beat a narcissist in the spiritual realm or in the physical realm just by physically thinking you can overpower them, because they have such a sadistic, dark spirit dominance in their life to where they will break you down spiritually, have you thinking that you won physically and psychologically. So, and ending this, I want you guys just to realize that this is not something that's fashionable. This is not something, but it's not a dire situation. It's somewhere in the middle. You need to stay in tune, because would you continue to jump back in a lake if you had a near drowning experience before with no lifeguards around? You just decide to go out and on your own and in and of yourself. Would you run back into a burning house that you knew was pretty much gone and there was nothing that was salvageable? What would be the sense in it? That's how you would look at going back to a narcissist. There's nothing in there. If a house has been deemed uninhabitable, not stable, could collapse at any time, you just want to go back in and peek around because you're curious. Don't let that be the reason why you go back to the narcissist. I don't think there's anything that you should be curious about that you don't already know about them. That being said, bless.